Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to your Rangers Review press conference reaction video. We've heard from Russell Martin and Jayden Magoma ahead of Sunday's Premiership encounter away to St Mirren. Heads up, folks, the Magoma press conference is embargoed, so that will be available for you tomorrow. But we can discuss the big talking points from Russell Martin's press conference. And Blair Malloy was at Auchenhowie Forest. First of all, Blair, how goes it?
Good afternoon, Derek. Yep, going well here. You can see the famous blue gates of the Rangers training centre behind me here. It was quite a day here at the Rangers training centre. First off, we spoke to the women's boss Leanne Crichton ahead of their game against Hearts this weekend. We also heard from Jayden Magoma. You'll be able to hear all about that on the YouTube channel tomorrow. And of course, Russell Martin came in to preview that game against St Mirren and look back on the Club Brugge result as well. Something I think we will want to try and forget, but that is what we in the trade call an all-timer of a press conference. It was quite literally packed with stuff from all angles, and I'm sure we'll get into it just now.
Yep, 19 minutes in length, the Russell Martin press conference, folks. You can go and check it out if you have 19 minutes to spare over on the YouTube channel right now. We've got a couple of clips, some of the big talking points, what you had to say. So much stuff to cover. We'll kick off with transfer news because there have been a few developments with regards to that. I'm going to play you what Russell Martin had to say. He addresses the futures of Ridvan Ben Davies and Jose Cifuentes.
Goodbye today, and all being well, he will go back there to Turkey. We wish him the very best. So it's a good move for him and for us. Ben's having his medical, so fingers crossed that goes well for him. He's been great. He's really got on with his training and getting fit. So wish him all the best if that gets done. And Sifu as well looks likely to join Toronto on loan. So 3 good guys that needed to play football elsewhere, and they've got what moves they're happy with and that we're happy with. So I think it certainly helps them and helps us moving forward.
So there you go, 3 players heading out the door. We touched on Ben Davies on the show this morning. He is set to be announced as an Oxford United player, ironically playing against Birmingham City tomorrow, so that will be intriguing. That would be a season-long loan. He is in the final year of his deal. Jose Cifuentes as well has agreed a loan with Toronto. We've got a piece on the website from Joshua on that one that includes an option to buy the end of that. So the Ecuadorian heading out the door. And Chris has also got that update on Ridvan Yilmaz, with Besiktas said to be paying around 2 million quid to sign their former player. What do you make of that, Blair? All 3 never really had a look in under Russell Martin. No real big surprise to see them all departing.
Yeah, Russell Martin, he was very forthcoming with the transfer news this afternoon, which a little bit unusual considering we sat here a week ago and watched them really play down any notion that Jeffrey was leaving, only for that to come to pass days later. He said he hadn't heard of Nobel Mendy. Obviously, that one collapsed for other reasons, but we obviously had the stories on the site earlier today that Ben Davies would be moving to Oxford United. He said that he's currently having his medical there, so that's one out the door, as Chris pointed out on the morning briefing this morning. Probably the last time we'll ever see Ben Davies in a Rangers shirt, given that his contract is up. Yep. Ridvan Yilmaz, another one. I wasn't quite expecting to get so much information out of Russell Martin for that one, but it seems to have moved pretty quickly. He says that he has said that in saying his goodbyes this morning to his Rangers teammates, so he seems to be off to Besiktas, and I think it's probably a good move for all parties involved. You look at the beginning of this season, and Ridvan is a player who's been frozen out completely, so it's best for all parties that he moves on and back to his homeland, back in Turkey, Besiktas, where he came from. So that, as well as Jose Cifuentes confirmed that he should be making that move off to Toronto with the option to buy in there. So it's certainly entering that phase of the transfer window now for Rangers that I think we said was inevitable. We've seen a lot of movement on the incomings at the start of the transfer window, and it's commendable that the board didn't hang around to get players out before they sanctioned these moves, because we all knew that we had to get players in, we had to refresh the squad. Okay, it may not be panning out the way that everyone wants it to currently, but they can't say that they've not backed Russell Martin. They've definitely gave him the ammunition, and now it's the case of players have to move on at the other end. And I think seeing Ridvan Yilmaz, seeing Ben Davies and seeing Jose Cifuentes go out the door is good news in the eyes of all Rangers fans, because I don't think they were ever likely to play a big part in this campaign.
Yes, and I'm just pleased. I was staying in the Besiktas area when Rangers played Fenerbahce, and I went to one of the other Ultras stores in the area, and a chap there who ran the shop was a big fan of Ridvan, knew him. I think he knew his family as well, so I'm pleased for him. I'd imagine that Ridvan will be happy to head back to his former club. It didn't quite work at Rangers. There were fleeting moments when he wasn't injured and he showed that he was a quality player, but it was just not enough. So, £2 million. I think that's probably reasonable, given he wasn't really going to get a look in. So, he heads off to pastures new. Cifuentes was a disastrous signing, and ditto Ben Davis. So I think he'll do pretty well at Oxford. I think that is his level. I've seen some comments on YouTube actually when folk were saying if the Championship's his level, why have Rangers just filled the squad with Championship players, which is a fair argument, but there you go. Moving on from that, ahead of Sunday, he talked about players that could be ready for that game or players that won't be ready, namely Cyril Dessers. He won't be fit for Sunday. It is hoped that he'll be back in contention for the game in midweek against Bruges. And on Hamza Igaman, he said he's only had probably 5 or 6 training sessions. He came back really late and obviously then picked up an injury. We'll have to wait and see. So this is a balance at the minute of him training, but then doing extra conditioning, but being ready to perform still. So yeah, he won't be far off, but he's not quite there yet. So he won't be starting either. So it's going to be Danilo, I'd imagine, Blair, that's going to lead the line again for Rangers. I take Russell Martin's word for it, but surely if he came off the bench the other night, he's able to play to start and start the game, maybe play an hour or so. But what do you make of what the manager had to say on that front?
Yeah, he was pretty unequivocal, Derek, when talking about Hamza Igman. It was shut down almost before the question hadn't left the journalist's mouth. He said, will he be starting? Is he contention to start? And he absolutely said, no, there's no chance that's going to happen. He's not ready for it. So that, coupled with the news that Cyril Dessers won't be back, I fear that this Cyril Dessers injury may be a little bit worse than we think it is. It seems to be kind of tumbling on now. A couple of press conferences, a couple of games, a little bit longer than maybe we thought it would be. But he said he is hopeful that Cyril Dessers will be back for the second leg of that Bruges game. So fingers crossed. But where that leaves us is Danilo leading the line in Paisley, which I think maybe a little bit of a concern to fans. I think Danilo, he hasn't really set the header on fire so far this season. I know there's people out there that really want to give him a chance, that think there is a player in there, and I think a lot of that may be based on the transfer fee, and you think somewhere in there's got to be a player, and he got his goal the other night, so hopefully that's given him a little bit of confidence going into that one. But he knows he's going to be in for a tough shift on Sunday afternoon in Paisley. I mean, if you're a centre forward against a Stephen Robinson defence, with respect to the buddies, they are going to make it incredibly difficult for you. It's going to be a physical game. They're going to be all over you. So Danilo is going to need to make sure that he is ready for that one. I know there's been a little bit of chat in the week that he might go somewhere different in terms of the number 9. Someone said in our show on Thursday morning that could he play Mikey Moore at centre forward, but I just don't get that from Russell Martin. He doesn't give me this idea that he's going to try something completely outlandish. I think Danilo starts at number 9 for me on Sunday afternoon. Cyril Dessers hopefully back for the Bruges game, and Hamza Igaman, well, as you said, he's came on the other night, and if he's fit enough to come on, maybe is he fit enough to start the game, but Russell Martin is pretty clear in his mind that that's not going to happen. So it may be a case of Danilo gets an hour, he gets the first half, depending on how things go in Paisley. I wouldn't be surprised to see Hamza Igaman at some point on Sunday afternoon, but yeah, Danilo from the start, I think, is a nailed-on certainty at this point.
Yeah, the Rangers are going to have to provide him with that service, because if they don't, then he's pretty ineffectual, let's be honest. Interestingly, he was asked about Sunday and the challenge that awaits him. He says, it's an exciting game for us because I think we have to go there and really show how much we can compete, how much we can fight as a team in the same way we did in the second half in really difficult circumstances. So we have to turn the game into one that we want, but to do that, you have to really fight for it and really earn it against St Mirren, because they're well organised, well coached, really aggressive, powerful, physically, so it's a good challenge. It's a different challenge, and every game here is a different challenge. That's the exciting bit. The focus in training has been on how we can hurt them and be aware of what their threats are, but all of it starts with the mentality of the team, and we have to really be there from the first minute against St Mirren. I'm looking forward to that, and as I said, turn it into the game we want. First, we have to fight, and we have to really go toe-to-toe with them on that front. He mentioned the word fight 3 times there in his answer, Blair, so it's clear that, yeah, and listen, he's totally right, of course. Too many times Rangers have went to places like this and just been bullied, out-muscled, and have come out on the wrong side of the result. So, yeah, they need to go there and flex their muscles and really get stuck in from the off.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he'll be reinforcing to the players this week just how much of a battle that it's going to be down there. And I think he's set his stall out pretty early. He knows that this is going to be a physical game. He knows this is going to be a war of attrition in Paisley on Sunday. And I don't think he can come out after it if the result doesn't go Rangers' way. He said he doesn't know what he is expecting, rather. Because as you said there, he's said the word fight so many times that he knows it's going to be a physical battle. I think, interestingly, in that, he talks about making the game Rangers' own. And I think that involves a lot of bravery. That involves a lot of Rangers getting their foot on the ball, playing with speed, playing with pace. This thing that I keep talking about every time I'm on the pod, they have to start with tempo and they have to really blow teams away, because that is when Rangers look at their best. I think him talking about how they can hurt St Mirren, I think in a lot of Rangers fans' mind right now, they're thinking about how St Mirren can hurt Rangers, because you're looking at a back line which is probably going to include Emmanuel Fernandez, who hasn't had a massive amount of game time so far, and it's a back four that has looked shaky at best, I would say. And you look at St Mirren, we've touched on how physical they're going to be. They're going to be absolutely lethal from set pieces, and that is somewhere that Rangers have struggled so far this season. So I think that St Mirren will definitely fancy their chances on Sunday. I know Stephen Robinson has been playing it down. He's saying that we're by no means favourites, which I agree with. Rangers should come into a game like this as favourites, and if they play the way that they can play, then they will get a result on Sunday afternoon. But Russell Martin, he left us all in no doubt that he knows it's going to be tough. He'll have conveyed to the players that it's going to be tough, and I think all the fans know that it's going to be tough.
Yeah, absolutely is. Moving on then, some interesting points that he made on living in Glasgow and the pressures that come with being the Rangers head coach as he is. He also explained why he's not wearing a shirt and tie on the touchline. So I'm going to play you what you had to say, folks, and we'll come back to Blair and see what you have to say about this.
Control what we can control, and that's working really hard, being all in here, treating it like we're going to be here for a long time with the staff and the players. Because if you just focus short term all the time to appease people and to sort of, make people happy, it's not it. So the ownership group are really calm. They've been great. Patrick, Kevin, everyone been so supportive. They understand what's gone on before and what needs to happen and what's going to come here. So really, I can't control anything else. I won't put any of my energy or attention to that. And everyone I bump into in the city, they've been great. Maybe I'm walking around in the right areas, but they've been great. Honestly, really supportive, really understanding. I've felt nothing but that. So when you're sitting behind a keyboard and all that stuff is really easy to say what you want. Back in the day, you'd have to go down the pub and chat with your mates about how bad someone was, and it's gone for a week. But now it's just incessant, constant. So it's the way of the world. It is what it is. And I think if you're a football manager, you have to accept that. The noise is something I just can't control. And the only way you can control it in football is by winning football matches. And there'll still be some people unhappy that I've got long hair and centre parting, and I can't wear a shirt and tie because I'm too sweaty on the sideline. I'll wear it to the games out of respect to, but I just can't wear it during the game. So you're never going to please anyone, regardless. Even if we win loads of trophies here, which is the plan, I'm pretty sure there'll still be sceptics. So it's not my focus.
Yeah, there you go. That is what he had to say. Where should we start with this? Well, first of all, I wonder where he's hanging about in Glasgow, Blair, that everyone's telling him that he's doing a good job. And then the point there, he says he gets too sweaty on the touchline. So that is the reason why he's not wearing a shirt and tie. Mentioned Kevin Thelwell and Patrick Stewart by name as well. There. Obviously, he has the support of those two, which he's got to, of course, given that he's in the job. He was their man. What do you make of what he had to say there?
Yeah, well, he did mention the other week that he fancied a coffee with Andy Halliday in the leafy West End, so I assume he's hanging about somewhere up there. Look, yeah. I get it. I understand. He's not going to come out and say, I've been here and everyone tells me that I'm not wanted. He has to have this level of belief that he still has support behind him. And I do think to an extent there are people out there who the tide will turn for him. If he gets good results, he has to believe that this will be on an upturn. He said something very interesting at the end there where he said that even if we win lots of trophies, I still think there'll be doubters. I don't quite buy that. I think that if he does manage to get trophies over the line, then I think that a lot of people who are maybe against him will be completely on his side, because that's the one thing that I think needs to be reinforced here. It's all about winning here. That is what he has to do. Once he gets trophies over the line, then the fans will be on board with him. But I think he's kind of been a little bit self-depreciating there with people don't like me because of my haircut, because I don't wear a suit, and it has been a bit of a talking point. It's been a bit of a talking point online. Why is he not wearing the suit? Why is he only wearing it to games before games and not wearing it during the match? And I think it does some good to just put that to bed and come out and make a bit of a joke of it, so it doesn't fester into something bigger. But at the same time, there is a little voice in my head that goes, this isn't maybe what the fans want to hear right now, especially coming off the back of some difficult results. I think that it's not maybe the time to start making jokes like that. But I think if we can look at it for what it is, he's addressed something. He knows, and I think underneath those comments, he knows that he has to start getting results. He'll have heard that atmosphere in Ibrox. He's not silly. He understands the context with which he is Rangers manager, and he understands the desperation to get 3 points on Sunday. So he'll understand how vital it is going forward. And wee comments like that, I mean, it definitely does put to bed why he's not wearing a suit during the game, even though I'm sceptical.
I'm not having that he sweats too much. He's a trim guy. He's not exactly carrying a bit of timber there. So I'm not buying it. But I get his point. He just feels more comfortable. Of course, that is what he's trying to say. But I know that there are many Rangers fans out there that are not happy that he's not wearing the old shirt and tie on the sidelines. And certainly, if your team isn't winning on the park, people pick up on little things like this, and it just adds to the frustration from the fan base, of course. A lot of comments coming in. I wonder if he, hanging about the West End or the Gallagate maybe, if people are telling him that he's doing a good job. But there you go. Right, that I think will do us there. A big thank you to Blair for putting in a sterling shift. Just a heads up again, folks, if you've missed the start of the show, you'll be able to watch that Jayden Magoma press conference tomorrow. Is it 9 a.m, Blair, that will be available?
I believe it's midday tomorrow. You'll be able to hear from Jayden Magoma.
Yeah, there you go. So midday is when you can hear that. And you mentioned you spoke to the Rangers women's boss as well, Leanne Crichton.
Yeah, the interesting discussion with Leanne. My first time speaking to her in her role as Rangers boss, and I must say she's an excellent speaker. Obviously, she's got background in working in broadcasting, so she's very adept at dealing with the press. So she was really interesting to talk to. She spoke a lot about them getting fans into the women's game, getting bums on seats, because them as the Rangers women's team would really benefit and would really take forward with a lot of support behind them. They're playing this weekend against Hearts. They're playing at Ibrox, and she was encouraging fans to get along and support the women's team. So absolutely, if you can make it along there, go and support Leanne and the women's side, because Leanne is putting the call out for Rangers fans to get behind her side.
Class, good stuff. Right, folks, that'll do us there. You can go and watch that Russell Martin press conference over on the channel, but we'll call it a day there. It will have all the usual coverage for you on Sunday from the Smythe Stadium. I think that's still what it's called over in Paisley. So yeah, you can look forward to that. Hopefully, Rangers get a victory, because it is very much needed. Right, enjoy your Friday, and we'll chat again soon. Bye for now.